Welcome to my stock scanner. It has become a new month and therefore, of course, as always, we will make a quick update on our algorithmic strategies. Now, if you have followed us for a while, you know that within our platform, outside having about 100,000 stocks and ETFs and all that, with that you can analyze, we have our Facebook groups and so on and so forth, we also have our algo strategies. You find them here in the menu, algos, and if we go in here, we can see that we have some US strategies, 4 of them, and we have some EU strategies, the same 4 basically, just on another market. So far, we have called this experimental because we knew these strategies were working on the US stock markets because we have been testing them. I'll show you the backtest just in a second. And we have been trading them for nearly 2.5 years ourselves now. And therefore we knew that they work. However, for a good strategy to be even more solid, it should also be able to work on other markets. If we tested it in the US market and it worked, but we tested it in the European market and it collapsed, then there would probably be something wrong with the strategy. So we have tested it on the European market and it seems to work just as we hoped and thought it would be. Now, our members, when they go in here, and you can always test us for free 30 days. Just go into mystockscanner.com. You get access to everything. And you can test us for 30 days without any obligations whatsoever. But our members, they are going into the US algorithmic strategies. They type in how much money they have, which strategies you want to use, and how many percentage they'll allocate to each. And then they get, in this case, 40 stocks. They can adjust this just as they want, so they get their own allocation and everything. That is completely up to them. They can create a spreadsheet. They get a possibility of sending a file directly to interactive brokers to do the trading easy and so on and so forth. So that is what they are doing normally. Now, what I will do today is just have a quick look at the performance, because as of right now, we started tracking this, we started trading this with our own money in the beginning of January 2023. And then last year, the 1st of January 24, we started posting these strategies live and people were able to track them, and we talked about them in the group. And as you can see, since we began last January, so a bit more than a year ago, 3 of them have made in the range of 20 to 24%, and a single one have made 10.5%. Now, in total, the European strategies are a bit worse, or a lot worse actually, but we only tracked them since 1st of October, I think it was last year. However, when we see on the year-to-date column here, we can see that the US strategies have done fairly poor this year. They have been hit a lot by that increased volatility due to, well, trade war and Trump and war and peace negotiations and all that stuff. However, there have been a flow of money into the European market, and we can see that the strategies have actually done very well here in Europe. If we're looking at the backtest, then this is the backtest of the US strategies. And we only have backtests this far back on US strategies because that's where we have the most reliant data. Because the European data is not the same quality, not that we've found so far, so therefore it doesn't make much sense to backtest. Now, these are the 4 strategies: quality momentum, value quality, inverse value momentum, that is actually low value and high momentum, and then our TPI plus strategy. Now, they're doing very differently from year to year. Some of them are in massive positive some year, 21%, where one of them is almost only in break even. And that is the point of this, that is to have 4 different strategies that don't correlate too much. If we look at the overall performance, we can see on average, these strategies are making about 20% per year. Now, they are actually making a bit more, 23%. However, normally we don't count in the first 4 years because they were so insanely good. You can see here compared to the S&P 500. So we actually tend to leave these outlier numbers out and then just say, okay, 20% in an average year. Now, as you can see, 23, we started with our own money. 24 we started also with we had our own money in there as well, but we started logging it in the My Stock Scanner group, and here you can see the difference between 12.5% and 27% in a year here. And then this year you can see the 4 strategies. We have 1 strategy in the positive and 3 in negative. So overall close to a break even, minus 0.4%. Now the S&P 500 is in about positive 1%. And then the RSP, which is the S&P 500, but equal weighted, meaning every single of the 500 stocks are counting 1/500 part of the entire calculation. That one is up a lot more, 2.8%, and that is because all of these Max 7, the big, huge stocks, they are doing a bit worse this year. Last year, because we normally use RSP, or we always use RSP in the US market as our benchmark, and people were criticizing us last year saying that is completely unserious, why you're not using the S&P, that goes up a lot more. And every single time I had to explain people that, oh, in the long run RSP is doing better. So we are actually choosing a benchmark that is harder to beat. Anyway, 2.8% this year, and we are down -4. Now we have 2 months into the year, so there's nothing to worry about. This can fluctuate a lot, and if we look into the different strategies here, we can take the most volatile, and that's important to say. These strategies are volatile. Our value momentum is the most volatile strategy. You can see here it has an annual volatility of 25.7%, whereas the market only has 11%. That is massive, and that is something that we should remember. We can also see that it was up here. It was actually at a positive of 49.2% right at the top. And right now it's only at 24%. So a massive, massive drop. And next month or next week, it can all go up again. But as you can see, it is the best performer, but also the strategy with the most volatility. That often correlates. All right, looking into the European strategies, we don't have much stats on these now. As you can see for 2024 here, we started in the beginning of October, so that was an average of -3.7%, but so far this year we are up 3.1%, so that is actually better than the US market. And several of our members are choosing to move into the European market simply because they are opposed to United States or Trump or trade wars or whatever. So they don't want to be exposed to that. Also, they're a bit nervous about the US dollar. Where's that going? So all in all, I think it's great to have the 2 opportunities. How people choose to allocate, that is completely up to them. Now, I've written S&P 500 here. We will have a benchmark out here. We just haven't decided on the right one yet that mirrors our strategies the best. So we will come up with a benchmark here to track how we are doing compared to the benchmark. All right, I hope that was a good explanation of the update here. Otherwise, just feel free to pop me a message and ask me some questions. So for now, bye.